Alex worked quietly in the small laboratory on the research station. The station was far from Earth, near a distant star. Humans had sent many stations to study the stars and planets. Alex was one of the young scientists chosen for this important job. He loved learning new things, and he was very curious about space and life beyond Earth. That day, the air felt different. The lights on the station flickered once, then went back to normal. Alex looked up from his work, feeling a little strange. He went to the window and looked outside. The stars were bright, but something else caught his eye. A ship unlike any he had seen before moved silently near the station. The ship was large and beautiful. It had smooth shapes and colors that changed softly. Alex's heart beat faster. He had read about alien ships in books, but now he was seeing one with his own eyes. The ship came closer and slowly stopped near the station. Suddenly, the door of the ship opened. A figure appeared in the doorway. Alex could not believe what he saw. It was a woman, but not like any human woman. She was tall, with skin that shimmered like the night sky. Her eyes were deep and bright, filled with calm power. She wore a crown made of shining crystals. She moved with grace and confidence. Alex's mind was full of questions. Who was she? Why was she here? He felt a mix of fear and wonder. The woman looked at Alex through the window and smiled softly. Then, without any warning, she disappeared back into the ship, and the door closed. Alex's heart was still racing. He wanted to speak to her, to know more. Suddenly, the communication system in the lab beeped. A message came through, but it was not in any language Alex knew. Then, the words appeared in his own language, as if by magic. Human, the message said, I am Zara, queen of my people. I come in peace. May I speak with you? Alex could hardly believe it. The alien queen was speaking to him. He answered quickly, I'm Alex. Please, I will listen. The ship's door opened again, and Zara stepped out. She walked slowly toward the station's airlock. Alex followed to meet her. As she entered the station, she looked around with interest. The other people on the station were shocked to see Zara. Some were afraid. Others were curious. Alex stayed close to Zara, ready to help her. Zara's voice was soft but strong. Thank you for your welcome, Alex. I have traveled far to find someone who can understand me. Alex looked at her carefully. Why me? He asked. Zara smiled, but there was sadness in her eyes. Because I have a question, and only a human can answer it. It is a question about trust and hope. Alex felt a strange feeling in his chest. He wanted to know the question. Zara stepped closer and lowered her voice. Would you with someone like me, human? The words were quiet but clear. Alex blinked. He did not expect this question. Would someone like you? He asked. Yes. Zara said, in my world, marriage is a bond of trust and respect. I want to know if you could trust me enough to become my partner. Alex's mind raced. How could he answer? He did not know this alien queen well, but something in her voice made him want to believe her. I don't know, Alex said honestly. But I want to learn more. Zara nodded. That is all I ask, to learn and to understand. Together, we may find a way. The other scientists watched quietly. Some whispered to each other. This meeting could change many things. Zara stayed on the station for some time. She shared stories about her people and their history. Alex listened carefully and told her about humans and Earth slowly. Alex began to see Zara not just as a queen, but as someone who felt lonely and hopeful. At the end of the day, Zara looked at Alex with kindness. Thank you, human, for listening. This is the beginning. Alex smiled back. Yes, it is the beginning. The stars outside shone bright and clear. The future was unknown, but Alex felt ready to face it. Alex could not stop thinking about Zara's question. Would you wed someone like me, human? Those words stayed in his mind from the moment she said them. The next morning, Alex went to the main station library. The library wasn't full of paper books like on Earth. It was a collection of holographic records, alien documents, and data from hundreds of worlds. Alex searched for information about Zara's species. The station's computer identified her people as the Solari. The Solari were known in the galaxy for their wisdom and long life. They ruled their worlds peacefully and rarely took part in wars. They valued promises more than treasure, and their leaders were chosen not by force, but by trust. Still, the records said very little about their private lives or personal customs. Alex closed the file and sighed. He needed more than just facts. He needed to hear from Zara herself. Later that day, he found her in the station's observation room. She stood near the large window, looking at the endless stars. Her shimmering skin reflected the starlight, and her eyes seemed to hold stories older than the station itself. "You look thoughtful," Alex said as he approached. Zara turned to him with a small smile. "And you look curious." "I am," Alex admitted. "I read about your people. But it doesn't tell me why you asked me that question yesterday." Zara's expression softened. "In my world, we choose our partner for life. It is a sacred choice. But my people face a difficult time. The old ways are fading, and trust between worlds is weak. I believe a union between our species could bring new hope." Alex listened quietly. "So, you came all this way to ask a human to marry you?" Zara tilted her head. "Not just any human. One who will listen. One who will try to understand. Your record shows you have worked with other species before. You respect differences." Alex felt a little embarrassed. "I guess I do try. But marriage, that's more than just respect." "Yes," Zara said softly, "it is trust. And that is why I ask." Alex could see she was serious. It wasn't a game or a trick. For her, this was about more than personal feelings. It was about a future between two very different worlds. They spent the next hours talking. Zara told him about her homeworld, Solar Prime, a place of golden seas and crystal mountains. Her people sang to the stars, believing the stars sang back. She spoke about her council, her duties as queen, and her fear that her world was becoming too closed, too afraid to connect with others. Alex told her about Earth, about oceans, forests, and cities filled with millions of voices. He explained how humans argued, dreamed, and built new things. Zara listened with great interest, sometimes asking small, thoughtful questions. By the third day, Alex began to notice something strange when he was with Zara. Time seemed to pass faster. Conversations felt natural, as if they had known each other for years. Still, not everyone on the station was happy about Zara's presence. In the cafeteria, Alex overheard two engineers talking. "That alien queen is trouble," one said. "Why is she even here?" "I heard she's trying to take over Earth," the other replied. "Starting with that scientist boy." Alex felt a spark of frustration. They didn't know Zara at all, yet they judged her. Later, when he met Zara again, he told her about the whispers. She didn't seem angry. Instead, she said, "It is normal. Fear comes from not knowing. If your people see me only as a stranger, they will be afraid. But if they know me, they may see differently." Zara then invited Alex to attend a Solari ceremony, one that would take place inside her ship. She called it the ceremony of trust. "What happens in this ceremony?" Alex asked. "It is simple." Zara explained. To being share a symbol. It is not a promise of marriage, but a promise to learn about each other without harm or lies. Alex thought for a moment. "And you want me to join this ceremony with you?" "Yes," Zara replied. "If you wish to understand me, this is the first step." The following day, Alex boarded her ship. The inside was breathtaking. The walls shimmered like flowing water, and the air felt warm, almost alive. Soft lights glowed from crystal shapes that hung above. In the center of the main hall, a silver table held two small objects. One looked like a bright white stone, the other like a dark, smooth shell. Zara stepped forward and picked up the shell. "This is my gift. It holds my voice. Speak into it, and it will remember your words forever." She handed it to Alex. It felt warm in his palm. Alex picked up the white stone. "This is from Earth," he said. "It's a piece of quartz I brought for study. It's not rare, but it's honest. It is what it is." Zara smiled. "Then our ceremony begins." They each placed the objects into a small pool of clear liquid at the center of the table. The liquid shimmered and then gently lifted the objects into the air, spinning them slowly. "In my world," Zara said, This means we are bound by the promise of truth from this day. No lie will pass between us. Alex felt a strange warmth in his chest. Then I promise, he said. When the ceremony ended, Zara walked with him back to the station's airlock. This is the start, Alex. You will learn more about me, and I will learn about you. As he stepped back into the station, Alex realized something. This was not just about Zara's question anymore. It was about two very different lives slowly finding a path toward each other. The stars outside seemed to shine brighter that night, as if the universe itself was watching. The day after the small ritual inside Zara's ship, word spread quickly around the station. Some crew members were curious, others doubtful. But no matter what anyone thought, Alex felt different. The promise he had made to Zara never to lie to each other stayed in his mind like a quiet fire. For the first time, Alex understood that this was not just an ordinary friendship. It was something deeper, something built on respect, and yet it was also fragile. Zara invited him again to her ship, but this time she told him the ceremony would be larger. In my culture, she explained, trust grows when it is witnessed. You gave me your truth, and I gave you mine. Now, I will show my people that you are worthy of it. Alex was nervous. Will all of your people accept me? No, Zara said honestly. Some will question, some will reject. But truth does not need every heart to agree. It only needs to stand without breaking. Her words stayed in Alex's mind as the day of the grand ceremony arrived. When Alex entered the Solaris ship's grand hall, he was stunned. The walls were tall and curved, lined with flowing patterns of silver and blue. The air carried a faint, calming sound, like the hum of distant waves. Many Solaris were already gathered inside. They were tall like Zara, with shimmering skin in different shades from pale silver to deep bronze. Some wore robes decorated with crystal threads, while others wore simple cloth that looked softer than any fabric Alex had seen. Every eye turned to him as he entered, and he felt the weight of their gaze. Zara appeared beside him, wearing a robe that glowed faintly in the soft light. Her crown was different today. It had two small arcs that curved like open wings. She looked at him with calm reassurance. Do not let fear take your voice, she whispered. At the center of the hall stood a circular pool, much larger than the one used before. Its surface shimmered with shifting colors. Round it, small bowls held sand, stones, and crystal dust. Zara raised her voice, speaking in her own language. Her words were smooth and melodic, but Alex could not understand them. A moment later, a small device on her robe translated, "People of Solara, today I share the bond of truth with a human. I bring him before you not as a stranger, but as a bearer of promise. Let the pool judge his heart." Alex's pulse quickened. "Judge my heart?" he asked quietly. Zara nodded. "It will not harm you. It will show them what I have seen." She motioned for him to step forward. He approached the pool, feeling the warm air rise from its surface. Zara took a handful of fine golden sand and poured it into the water. The colors swirled and shifted into soft gold. "Now you," she said. Alex reached into the small bowl of white crystal dust. It sparkled faintly in his fingers. He scattered it over the pool, and for a moment, nothing happened. Then the water changed again, turning into a mixture of gold and white, swirling together, but never blending completely. The Solari around them murmured. Zara smiled gently. "The pool shows your truth. It is not the same as mine, but it does not fight against it. This is rare." Then she turned to the crowd and spoke again in her language. The translation device repeated her words. "This human's truth stands apart from mine, yet it walks beside it. That is why I choose him as my partner in trust." Some Solari bowed their heads. Others looked uncertain, but no one spoke against her. Zara then turned back to Alex. "Now, we walked together in the circle." The circle was a narrow path around the pool, marked with patterns. As they walked side by side, the patterns lit up softly under their steps. Each light followed them until the circle was complete, then faded, leaving the pool shimmering quietly. When they reached the end, Zara placed her hand gently on Alex's chest. "It is done. From this day, the Solari know your face and your promise." Alex felt a strange warmth not just from her touch, but from the fact that she had spoken for him in front of her people. After the ceremony, a reception was held inside the ship. Food and drink from Zara's world were offered on floating trays. The food was strange but beautiful round fruits that glowed faintly, bread-like shapes filled with sweet-smelling steam, and drinks that changed flavor as you sipped them. Alex tried one of the glowing fruits. It was soft, juicy, and tasted like a mix of honey and lemon. "This is amazing," he said, and Zara smiled. A few Solari approached him during the gathering. One, an elder with bronze skin and a tall staff, looked at him closely. "You are young for such a promise," the elder said through a translator. Alex nodded. "Maybe, but truth doesn't have an age." The elder studied him for a long moment, then gave a slow nod before walking away. Another younger Solari, perhaps close to Alex's own age, came forward. "You are brave to walk beside our queen," they said. "Not many humans would dare." Alex smiled lightly. "It's not about daring. It's about wanting to understand." When the reception ended, Zara walked Alex back to the stations. "Airlock, you did well," she said softly. Alex looked at her with a small smile. "It wasn't easy." "They all stared at me like I was something strange." "You are," Zara said, but her tone was warm. "You are strange to them, just as they are to you. But strangeness is not weakness, it is the start of learning." Alex thought about that as they stepped through the airlock. The station felt smaller after being inside her vast, glowing ship. As they reached the station's main quarter, Zara paused. "There will be voices against us," she said quietly. "Some will speak loudly. Some will work in shadows. If you wish to leave this path, you may do so now." Alex shook his head. "I'm staying. I made a promise, remember?" Zara's lips curved into a small smile. Then we walked forward together. Outside the station windows, the stars seemed brighter than before. Alex didn't know what challenges lay ahead, but he was certain of one thing: he was now part of something far bigger than himself. The days after the ceremony of trust felt different on the station. Some humans greeted Alex with curiosity, asking him questions about Zara and her people. But others kept their distance, their faces showing doubt. Alex tried to focus on his work, but he could not ignore the way certain conversations stopped when he entered a room. The whispers were becoming more frequent. One morning, while Alex was reviewing asteroid samples in the lab, Commander Hayes, the station's leader, walked in. Hayes was a tall man with sharp eyes and a voice that carried authority. "Alex," Hayes said, folding his arms, "we need to talk about your involvement with the alien queen." Alex put down his tools. "What about it?" Hayes' tone was calm but firm. "This station's job is research, not politics. When you stand beside her in public, people start thinking alliances are being made without the council's approval. That could cause trouble." Alex frowned. "She's not here to take over anything. She just wants to understand humans." Hayes shook his head. "That's what you believe. But belief is not proof. Be careful, Alex. Trust can be used." Alex didn't like the warning, but he nodded. "I understand." Later that day, Zara invited Alex to her ship for a private conversation. She seemed more serious than usual. "My council has spoken to me," she said quietly. "They say I am giving too much of my attention to you. They worry I am forgetting my duties as queen." Alex felt a pang of guilt. "I don't want to cause trouble for you." Zara's eyes softened. "You are not the cause. The cause is fear. My people fear what they do not know, just as some of your people fear me. But if I walk away now, their fear will remain forever." Alex understood her point, but it didn't make things easier. Both of them were now under pressure from their own sides. That evening, the tension became more visible. In the station's cafeteria, Alex walked in to get a meal. A group of engineers sat at a table nearby. One of them spoke loudly enough for Alex to hear. "Looks like the queen's pet has arrived." The man said. Another chuckled. "Careful, maybe he'll tell her our secrets." Alex stopped walking. "If you have something to say it to me, not behind my back." The first engineer shrugged. "We're just saying. It's strange how fast you got close to her. Makes people wonder what she's really after." Alex stared at them for a moment. then simply walked away. Arguing would only feed the rumors. The next day, Zara sent him a message asking him to meet her in the observation room. When Alex arrived, she was already there, looking out at the stars. "I have news," she said without turning. "A message came from my homeworld. A political rival of mine says I am weakening our people by trusting a human." Alex stood beside her. "Do they have any real reason to think that?" "No," Zara replied. "But sometimes, in politics, reason is not needed, only fear." Alex thought for a moment. "So what do?" Zara turned to face him. "We show them strength, not through force, but through action. There's an asteroid field nearby with a rare mineral both our people need. My ship can reach it, but the field is dangerous. If we go together and return with the mineral, it will show both sides that our bond brings results." Alex nodded slowly. "That sounds risky." Zara smiled faintly. "It is, but nothing worth doing is without risk." 2 days later, they set out. Zara's ship glided smoothly toward the asteroid field, its shields shimmering faintly. Alex sat at the co-pilot's seat, watching the massive rocks drift slowly in the blackness of space. The mineral they sought, solarium crystal, was known to power advanced technology. Its value was high, and collecting it from the unstable field required skill. Zara's hands moved gracefully over the controls. "Hold the scanner steady," she told Alex. "The crystals will glow faintly on the readout." Alex adjusted the scanner, his eyes fixed on the display. There are 3 small clusters, 20 degrees to the right. Zara guided the ship carefully between 2 large spinning asteroids. The sound of debris tapping against the shields filled the cabin. When they reached the crystal cluster, Zara activated the mining arm. The long metal extension reached out, breaking the crystals free and pulling them into the ship's storage bay. Alex grinned. "That's one." They continued deeper into the field for the other clusters. The trip was smooth until the warning. Alarms began to sound. A massive asteroid, larger than the ship itself, was spinning out of control, heading straight for them. "Hold on," Zara shouted, turning the ship sharply. The asteroid passed close enough for Alex to see the cracks on its surface. Pieces broke away, some hitting the shields hard. "Shields at 70%. Alex called out. Zara's voice was calm but urgent. "We have what we came for. Time to leave." The return trip was tense, but they made it out of the field safely. When the stars opened up before them again, Alex let out a long breath. "That was more exciting than I expected," he said. Zara allowed herself a small smile. "And yet, we succeeded. This is what I will show my people and yours." Back on the station, the delivery of the solarium crystals caused a stir. Commander Hayes inspected them personally. "These will be useful," Hayes admitted. "I suppose I should thank both of you." Zara inclined her head politely. "We do not seek thanks, only understanding." That night, Alex stood in the quiet corridor outside the observation room, watching the stars through the glass. Zara joined him silently. "You know," Alex said, "I think some people here will never trust either of us, no matter what we do." "Perhaps," Zara agreed, "but trust is not built for all, it is built for those willing to hold it." Alex nodded. "Then we keep going." "Yes," Zara said softly, "we keep going." The stars stretched endlessly before them, and somewhere in that vastness, Alex felt the beginning of something even greater than trust, a shared purpose strong enough to face the storms ahead. It had been a week since Alex and Zara returned from the asteroid field with the solarium crystals. The success had improved how some people viewed them both on the station and among the Solarii. But not everyone was convinced. Then, one morning, alarms echoed through the station. The lights flashed red, and a voice came over the comm system. "Unidentified ships approaching. All crew to alert stations." Alex hurried to the control deck, through the large viewing screens. He saw them, 3 dark, sharp-edged ships cutting through space like blades. Their design was nothing like the smooth, graceful ships of the Solarii. Commander Hayes stood at the center of the deck, his voice steady but tense. "Pirates, the Krail Syndicate. They attack stations for resources and will take prisoners if they can." Zara entered the deck, her presence calm but commanding. "The Krail have attacked my people before. They will not stop unless they believe We are too strong to defeat. Hayes glanced at her. Your ship is faster than ours. Can you fight them? I can, Zara replied, but I will need a skilled co-pilot. The Krail fight without rules. Her eyes turned to Alex. Will you come with me? Alex didn't hesitate. Yes. Minutes later, Alex was in the co-pilot's seat of Zara's ship as it launched from the station. The stars streaked past them as the ship accelerated toward the enemy. Shields up, Zara ordered. Weapons online. Alex activated the systems, his fingers moving quickly over the glowing controls. Weapons ready, targeting the lead ship. The Krail ships noticed them and changed course. Coming in fast. Hold steady, Zara said. Her voice was calm, but her hands moved with precision. The ship rolled to avoid a volley of bright red plasma fire. Alex locked onto the nearest enemy ship and fired. The beam struck one of its engines, causing the vessel to spin out of control. One down, Alex said, feeling a surge of adrenaline. Not yet, Zara warned. They never come alone. Two more Krail ships appeared from behind an asteroid, their weapons lighting up the darkness. Zara pushed the ship into a sharp turn. The view outside became a blur of stars and fire as they dodged incoming blasts. Take the left one, she told Alex. He adjusted the targeting system and fired again. The shot hit the enemy's shield, but it didn't break. Shields too strong, Alex called out. Then aim for the weapon ports, Zara replied. Alex adjusted quickly, firing at the smaller points on the enemy's hull. Sparks burst from the Krail ship as one of its weapons went dark. Meanwhile, Zara closed in on the other enemy ship, releasing a burst of guided projectiles. The Krail ship tried to dodge, but one projectile hit directly, tearing through its armor. The fight raged for several minutes, each side weaving through the field of debris left behind by the earlier battle. The last of Krail's ships began to retreat, their engines flaring as they turned away from the station. They're running, Alex said. For now, Zara replied, slowing the ship. They will return if they believe we are weak. We must show them strength. She activated a wideband transmission. This is Zara of Solar Prime. The Krail Syndicate will find no easy prey here. Attack again, and you will be met with force. Her voice echoed across the comm channels when they returned to the station. Cheers erupted from some of the crew who had watched the battle through the external monitors. Even Commander Hayes gave a small nod of approval. You handled yourselves well, Hayes said. The station owes you both. But Zara shook her head. No debt. We protect because it is right, not because it is owed. Later, Alex and Zara walked together through the quieter corridors of the station. You didn't have to risk yourself, Zara said softly. Yes, I did, Alex replied. We promised to walk this path together. That means I stand with you when it matters most. For a moment, Zara didn't answer. Then she said, in my people's way. Loyalty shown in danger is more valuable than any words. Today, you have given me that. Alex smiled faintly. Guess that means we passed the test. Zara's eyes softened. There will be more tests. But now I know you will not turn away. That night, Alex couldn't sleep. He sat in the observation room, watching the distant stars. His thoughts were filled with the battle, the risks they had taken, and the strange calm Zara had shown. Even in the middle of danger, he realized something important, whatever lay ahead. His life was now tied to hers not just by a promise, but by trust proven under fire. The Krail might return, politics might grow tense, but he would not back down. Far away, one star glowed brighter than the rest. Alex imagined it was watching, silently marking the path of two lives now walking side by side through the unknown. The hall was filled with a strange silence. The light from the crystal walls shimmered softly, and the air carried a light scent from the gardens outside. The alien queen, Leora, stood at the center of the hall, her silver crown glinting under the soft light. She was calm, but her eyes were watching one person only, Aaron. He had been through battles, strange journeys, and moments where he almost lost his life. He had learned much about the alien people and their way of life, and now everything came down to this one decision. Round the hall, the alien council members sat in their high chairs. Each of them looked serious, as if this moment would decide the fate of their world. One council member stood up and spoke. Human, the queen has chosen you to stand with her, but you must give your answer. Will you stay here in our world or return to your own? Aaron took a slow breath. His heart was heavy. He thought of Earth as home, his family, the blue sky, the sound of rain. But he also thought of this new world, its endless crystal towers, glowing rivers, and people who had once feared him but now looked at him with respect. Leora stepped closer to him. Her voice was soft, but it carried through the whole hall. Aaron, she said, you have shown courage when we doubted you. You have protected my people when danger came. You have stood beside me when the shadows of war threatened us. If you choose to leave, I will not stop you. But if you stay, she paused, her eyes locking with his. If you stay, you will walk beside me, not as my servant, but as my equal. The words seemed to echo in the hall. Aaron looked down for a moment, thinking. His hands curled into fists, then relaxed. He remembered the moment they first met, the queen's guarded tone, her people's mistrust, and the way he felt like an outsider. Now, things were different. The alien guards who once kept their spears pointed at him now bowed their heads when he passed. He looked at her again. Your world is not mine, he said slowly, but it has given me something. I never thought I would find trust and purpose. I came here as a stranger, but now, I think, I belong. The council members began whispering to each other. The queen did not move. Then your answer, she asked. Aaron nodded. I will stay, and I will stand with you. For a moment, there was only silence. Then a single deep tone rang out from the crystal pillars, as if the very walls of the hall were alive and celebrating the choice. The council members stood and placed their hands over their hearts, a sign of respect. The queen's expression softened. Then it is decided, she said. She reached out her hand, and Aaron placed his in hers. The gesture was simple, but it carried great meaning. In their culture, it was the bond of equals. The council announced a new alliance. The human Aaron will serve as the queen's bonded protector and advisor, the first of his kind in our history. In the days that followed, celebrations filled the alien city. The glowing rivers shone brighter. Music floated through the air, and lights danced on the tall crystal towers. Aaron walked through the streets with the queen, and people cheered not for her alone, but for them both. But not all was easy. Aaron knew challenges would come. There would be those who did not accept him, and dangers that would test their alliance. But he also knew one thing: he was no longer alone. Together, they could face whatever the stars sent their way. One night, under a sky filled with twin moons, Leora stood with Aaron on a balcony overlooking the city. The soft wind carried the scent of the alien flowers. She spoke without looking at him. You could have returned to your people. Why did you choose to stay? Aaron smiled faintly. Because home is not always where you're born. Sometimes it's where you choose to be. The queen turned her head, her eyes reflecting the moonlight. Then let this be your home, for as long as the stars shine. And so, the human and the alien queen began a new chapter, two worlds bound together, not by conquest or fear, but by trust and choice. The future was unknown, but for the first time since he left Earth, Aaron felt certain of one thing: whatever came next, they would face it side by side. The great hall of the Crystal City was filled with silence. Tall windows allowed the soft light of the alien sun to shine in, making the crystal pillars glow faintly. Aaron stood beside Queen Celara, his hands resting behind his back. It had been many days since they formed the alliance, but the air was still tense. From the far side of the hall, Commander Varen entered, his long coat swaying with each step. He was one of Celara's most trusted military leaders, but today his face carried a shadow of worry. My queen, Varen said, bowing slightly. The outer beacons report unusual movements near the rift belt. A fleet has been sighted, and they are not ours? Celara's eyes narrowed. The Dravik? It is likely, Varen replied, though their colors are hidden. They may be trying to test our defenses. Aaron listened quietly. The Dravik were a rival alien faction, known for their ruthless expansion. They had clashed with Celara's people before, and from what Aaron had heard, The battles have been costly. Solara turned to Aaron. This changes everything. If they come now, they may believe the alliance between humans and my people is weak. Aaron spoke firmly. Then we need to show them it is strong. That night, the council gathered. The large chamber was filled with voices speaking in low tones. Alien nobles, advisors, and military captains took their seats around the oval table. Solara stood at the head, her silver crown catching the faint light. Aaron sat to her right. Feeling the weight of many eyes on him, Var spread a star map over the table. Here, he pointed, is where the fleet was last seen. If they cross this border, they will reach our trade routes into days. An elderly noble spoke, his voice shaking. We cannot fight them, not yet. Our ships are still repairing from the last skirmish. Another captain slammed his fist lightly on the table. If we do nothing, they will see us as prey. The voices rose, but Solara lifted her hand. The room fell silent. We will not hide, she said, but we will not rush into battle without reason. We must find out why they are here. She turned to Aaron. Your people are skilled at stealth missions. Yes, Aaron nodded. We can send a scout ship, a small team, unseen. If we know their true purpose, we can act wisely. 2 days later, Aaron found himself aboard a small silver craft, with Varen and a young pilot named Ren. The ship's engines purred softly as they slipped past the outer beacons. The stars stretched like rivers of light outside the window. Varen, check the readings. We are close. The fleet is just beyond that gas cloud. As they entered the swirling mist, the ship's lights dimmed to avoid detection. Aaron could feel his heart beating faster. The Dravik ships came into view sleek, black, with sharp edges that looked almost like blades in space. They were not moving to attack. Instead, they seemed to be waiting and guarding something. Ren adjusted the sensors. There's a large object between their ships. It's not a war vessel. It's some kind of transport. Aaron studied the screen. What are they carrying that needs this much protection? Before they could get closer, a sudden energy pulse rippled through the gas cloud. The ship's controls flickered. They've detected us. Varen shouted. Ren spun the craft away as a Dravik patrol ship broke from formation. Laser fire streaked past, missing by only meters. Hold on, Ren yelled. The small craft dived deeper into the cloud, engines roaring. Aaron gripped the seat as another blast shook the hull. But after a tense few minutes, the enemy ship turned back. They had escaped, but only barely. Back in the Crystal City, Aaron and Varen reported to Solara. They're guarding a transport, Aaron explained. We don't know what's inside, but they're treating it like it's worth a war. Solara leaned forward, her voice low. If they are moving something precious, then perhaps they are not here for open battle. They may be trying to deliver it across our space, and that could give us leverage. Varen crossed his arms. Or it could be a weapon. Aaron met Solara's gaze. Either way, we need to intercept it before it leaves the Rift Belt. The next day, the Alliance fleet prepared. The repairs on their ships were rushed, but Solara gave the order. In the docking bay, Aaron stood with Ren, checking their ship. Again, the hum of engines, the scent of metal, and the sound of tools filled the air. You think this is going to work? Ren asked. Aaron smiled faintly. It has to. Solara arrived, her cloak flowing behind her. She stopped in front of Aaron. This mission will be dangerous. If you succeed, you will show the Dravik that our alliance is not to be tested. Aaron nodded. We'll bring back whatever they're hiding. Solara placed a hand on his shoulder. Then may the stars guide you. As the docking clamps released, the fleet moved out. Led by the small scout ships, the Crystal City slowly disappeared behind them, replaced by the endless dark of space. Aaron sat at the controls, his mind focused. This was no longer just about survival. It was about proving to the galaxy that humans and Solara's people could stand together against anyone. And deep in his thoughts, he knew this mission could decide not only the fate of the Alliance, but also his own future. Beside the alien queen,